The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie show on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is Free Kicks. So, Adam, have you ever heard of a footballer named King Kazu?
King Kazu? No, I have
King
not.
Kazu. His name is Kazuyoshi Miura. He was a famous player in Japan.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to point him out to you because this week he's celebrating his 57th birthday. And he's doing it as a member of a second division team in Portugal. He's still playing.
Wow.
He's still playing. He's 57 years old. I looked him up today. He's got a son that's 27. And he's still
amazing.
playing professional. He's played for the Japanese national team, but not since 2000.
Yeah.
He played professional futsal for a while, but he's out on loan in Portugal. I'm not going to try to pronounce the name of the team. It starts with an O. And so I just wanted to say, it's not too late for you. What do you think?
It's too late.
You're not 57 yet?
Yeah, but my back hurts, my neck hurts, everything hurts, Rick. It's
Yeah,
no
but you
fun.
got the colonoscopy, you got the thumbs up from the doctor. I think it's time for you to get back into the game.
All right, I'll get my back fixed first. We'll see how that works.
All right, but it would probably mean the end of Free Kicks, so maybe you shouldn't do it because it is time right now for Free Kicks.
And now, Free Kicks. Free Kicks with Illinois Youth Soccer Association's Director of Coaching, Adam Howarth, and Rick Kemper.
So, I've noticed there's a little melancholy in your voice again this week. There was a big game this past weekend, a cup final, the Carabao Cup. It was Liverpool versus Chelsea. I thought Chelsea played very well. In fact, at the end of 90 minutes, it looked like Chelsea was going to go on to win. Liverpool was out there with 14-year-olds and balls of tape, and it looked like there was no possible way that they were going to win it. But they came back and they won it for the Klopper and a 1-0 victory. And you know who Gary Neville is? Of course you know who Gary Neville is.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
He referred to the Chelsea team as billion-pound bottle jobs after the game, which I'm not quite sure what that means.
Yeah, if you bottle something, it means that you kind of choke. It's a choke. You should have won, but you lost. You know what I mean?
Well, they asked Mauricio Pochettino what he thought of that comment after the game, and here's what he said.
Gary, I have a very good relationship with him. But that doesn't mean that maybe sometimes can be unfair or not fair, under my opinion. No, in that case, I think it's not fair, the comment. But of course, he tried to yesterday to make a little bit soft the comment. But I think we need to put all in context. I think after 90 minutes we were better side, and we deserved to win. In the last 10-15 minutes, I think we create too many chances to score. We were not clinical enough, and then I think you always need some luck, to score the goal and win the game. And I think we won the game after 90 minutes. All people will talk in a different way today, and maybe we were genius and what an amazing player we have and everything. That cannot, because of after in the extra time, I think we didn't manage.
So you see what he's saying there is, if the game had ended after 90 minutes, people would be saying how great they are, but because they just had a couple of bad minutes afterwards, it's not fair. They would just be judged by that. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I watched the game afterwards, so I wasn't able to watch it live. But from what I saw, I mean, I think he's right. I mean, Chelsea were definitely the better team for the first 90 minutes. There's no question. Created a lot more chances, had a little bit more of the play. Now, that's not to say that Liverpool didn't have their chances. They did, but And this has been pretty much the story of Chelsea's season. Too many touches in the box, too many things here, just not getting their shot off in enough time, hitting posts, those types of things. So,
Right.
and then they fall mercy. The one thing with that game, the longer the game it went, you knew the goal that was going to be scored was, of course, going to be a set piece. And as we always say, set pieces.
Yes.
That's how often these games are won and lost, and that's exactly what happened. So I think he's right. A lot of people giving these players some criticism, and I think especially because of how Liverpool played the kids at the end. That was all the big story about all these kids came up. When you actually look at their minutes, some of them only played like 7-10 minutes.
Yeah, whatever.
It wasn't. I mean, it's like you can spin it how you want to spin it, but they should have won.
Yeah.
They didn't. We'll live through it.
Let's face it, though. I mean, that Liverpool 11 that they put out there was like the C team, right? You know,
Oh, yeah.
You
it
had
was definitely
no
not
Mo
their
Salah,
starters.
you had no Darwin Nunez, no Trent, even the goalie, Allison, wasn't there. They had many players missing.
Yeah.
And they still held on.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, their front three was, established, Gakpo, Elliott, Diaz, but midfield, Endo obviously has been a mainstay. McAllister's good, but Gravenberch, I don't know too much about him.
Right.
And then obviously Conor Bradley's kind of come into the forefront. But when you look at the subs they had, yeah, absolutely. When they were subbing players in, there wasn't anybody of real distinction that anybody really knew. Tsimikas was, he was a sub that came on.
True.
Provided the cross for the goal for Van Dijk. So, which was a great header, by the way. I mean, it was
amazing header.
Yeah, he scored two just like that. The same thing. So the first one got disallowed, but yeah, it's one of those things. And when you look at it, I think people are right to say that Chelsea should have won, and they didn't. And so now they've got to go again. Hopefully, pick themselves up. They've got the FA Cup this week, which is actually have a big game this week. They'll be after we record this, so this goes on, but hopefully they'll get a result and they'll keep on going.
Okay. Another big news story this week, Everton. This just came out yesterday as we're taping here on Tuesday. They did lodge a protest when they had those 10 points deducted, and the league did come back and give them a few of those points back. They got 4 points back, which now brings them back out of the relegation zone.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic for them. So a massive kickstart to their season, you could say at the near the end of the season here, and so they moved up. So originally, I think they had 21 points, and so they just got 4 points. And what really helped was with Brentford losing yesterday as well. So now they are tied with Brentford. Actually, I think they're above Brentford because of goal differential.
Yeah.
Because Brentford conceded a bunch of goals yesterday. So. Their goal differential is pretty good. They're in pretty good shape, and it's tough for Luton, who now plummet down into the bottom three. And as we said at the start of the year, bottom three is the three that came up.
Yeah, it kind of looks that way now, right? The bottom three right now are the 3 teams that were just promoted last year. So it made us start thinking about who's coming up. And this is the time of year when you start talking about it. About 2/3 of the season is done. So let's take a look at what's happening down in the championship, because right now Leicester City has been kind of running away with it, and I think it'd be nice to get them back up into the Premier League. And Leeds looks like a pretty good bet to return. They're right now tied with Ipswich Town, but they're ahead on goal differential. And then the other teams that are in the running are Southampton, which has been up there before. West Brom has been up there before. Hull City hasn't been up there in a while, but they have been up there, not too long ago. So tell everybody exactly how this works, how the competition works for the teams that get moved up into the Premier League.
Yeah. So basically, the top 2 will automatically get promoted into the Premier League. So right now, the top 2 teams, Leicester City are top. And then Leeds United are second. So two teams that just went back, who were relegated last year, are the top two teams, and that often that happens.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, Leeds just beat Leicester on the weekend. So in a big 3-1 victory for Leeds. So that was a great result for them. So that's pushed them up. Now, Ipswich are right there as well. They're in third place. They're just below them on goal differential. And then Southampton, West Brom, Hull. So the next four teams, if that's the way it finished, what would happen is they would have a little playoff. So 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5, and then the final is at Wembley. And they say that's the biggest and most expensive game of the year because whoever wins that gets the promotion to the Premier League. So the top 3 or top 2 and then the third out of the playoffs goes up, and then the bottom 3 with no playoffs in the Premier League go down. So,
Right.
yeah, it's exciting times for those Leicester and Leeds fans because they can see the potential of going back up. And you know who Leeds manager is?
Who?
It's a former Norwich City manager, one of our favorite Germans. Farker is his name, if you remember him. Yes, exactly.
Watch it. Yes, I do. He's the one that never smiles, right?
That's right, Daniel Farker. Absolutely. And you've got to be careful how you say it. I just like saying it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he's the manager of Leeds. So it seems like he runs that championship. He's pretty good there. So hopefully he can make things move forward a little bit for Leeds and get them back into the Premier League. So
yeah.
Daniel Farker
Leeds is a team that should be in the Premier League based on, their size of their town, the size of their stadium, the depth of the support of the followers. I always think that they should be up there.
No question. No question. Yeah. And they have massive, like you said, they have massive fan support in terms of who they are. And they're definitely the team that can do damage, especially because of the history that they've got. So I think it's a really good group. And the same thing with Leicester City, very well supported.
Yep.
They've won the Premier League. Remember that. They've won the Premier League, not too long ago. And they've still got Jamie Vardy still playing a little bit of a role in there too.
He's got 10 goals. I just looked it up. He's got 10 goals this year. And now I get to hear my favorite thing when he comes back up, and that's Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy. It just warms my heart.
He's great. Yeah, he's good.
All right, let's talk about what's going. Well, you know what? We haven't played this in a while. Here we go.
Premier League football. What's happening on the pitch?
Well, as we head into the final third of the season, we have a 3-team race. I think it's safe to say you got Liverpool up 1 point on Man City, up 1 point on Arsenal. Liverpool's on top, but we've already talked about how their injuries are starting to pile up. City and Arsenal are rolling, and Arsenal has been scoring goals like crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, some great results recently in terms of the goals that they're scoring and playing at top form, and so catching them up, that's for sure.
So what are your thoughts? I was looking at the overall titles. All three of these teams obviously are royalty in terms of Premier League history and first flight history. Liverpool has 19 titles. The last one was in 2021. Arsenal has 13. They last won it in 2003. City has 9, but 5 of those have come in the last 6 years. So, it's not going to be an upset win, no matter who wins it. Of those 3 teams, they're all powerhouses.
No question. All have got a history of winning the Premier League. Liverpool obviously have just won it the once, but back when I was a young lad in the 80s and the 90s, Liverpool was definitely one of the top teams. Then Manchester United were the ones that were winning all the titles. So they've got that history, and certainly, as you mentioned already, they're playing for the Klopper.
Yeah, they are.
So they have that kind of inner belief to try to win it, and they could potentially win 4 trophies. That would be unbelievable. I don't know if you knew that. So obviously they've already won 1. They're still in the FA Cup. Obviously, you've got the Premier League, and they're favourites to win the Europa League.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're gonna finish on a high note, then boom, that's a great high note to finish.
It would be nice.
And then I think with Arsenal, they consistently surprise me just because, there was a little bit of inconsistency there, here and there, but they seem to rebound so well. They may play poorly one game, but then they come back and, Bukayo Saka is such a great player. I think he just brings so much to the team. I mean, I'm so super glad that he's playing on the England national team. And they beat a Newcastle team that has spent a little bit of money, to improve their squad and were comfortable 4-1 winners. I mean, it wasn't even close. I mean, and I think they were up 4-0 for most of the game, and that's when Newcastle scored late on. But they're just, by far one of the top teams, and so I'm really excited to going down to the kind of the end here. They did have a bit of a mishap in the Champions League. I don't know if you saw that last week. So they lost their first leg. It was only 1-0.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be all right.
I think so. And then again, they're fighting on those fronts as well to potentially get back. So, exciting times for the top three. So I think you're absolutely right. This is the time for maybe us to say, yes, it's now a 3-horse race.
And the other thing about the Arsenal versus City dynamic is that it's the teacher and the pupil, right?
Yes, exactly right. Exactly right.
Between Pep and Arteta. So Arteta was his right-hand man for years.
That's right. Was an assistant after his playing career. Obviously, he played for Arsenal and came back, and obviously he has a massive love for the club. So going back to Arsenal, and now, and really, to be fair to him, he's done a fantastic job because they were down in the dumps there, and he's been able to turn it around. Ironically, from the manager who's now managing the 4th place team. So it's amazing how
who's
that goes
done a
around.
great job with that club, right?
Exactly.
Unai Emery has done a fantastic job with Aston Villa. And if you look at the 5th place and 6th place, they're really not that close anymore. It looks like it's starting to separate itself from the rest of the league.
Yeah, I agree. I think you got the 3-horse race, and then you got 5 through. I'll be nice and say 11, with Chelsea included. 5 through 11. But they're the ones competing for, the 4th place through the 7th place. So 5 and 6 gets automatically into the Europa League, and then the 7th place team has a playoff as well. So there's opportunities for some of those other teams to potentially get up. Brighton's in 7th place right now, but they're still 8 points behind 5th place.
Right.
So
exactly,
it's almost like 3 little leagues going on there.
All right. Free Kicks is brought to you by the Illinois Youth Soccer Association.
Illinois Youth Soccer has been proudly serving the Illinois soccer community since 1975 and has a strong history of credibility. Illinois Youth Soccer is a non-profit corporation, official state association, and charter member of U.S. Soccer Federation, U.S. Youth Soccer, and administers U.S. Soccer Federation coaching programs, the Olympic Development Program, and U.S. Soccer Federation referee programs. For more information, go to illinoisyouthsoccer.org.
Okay, and I think we have some of this, too.
And now, the latest Chicago area soccer news. Soccer news. With Coach Adam.
What else is going on? It seems like you're very busy these days.
Busy, yeah. It seems like that's all I ever say, but it's a good busy. Last week was really exciting for me because we was able to get a bunch of directors, technical leaders for clubs in the Chicagoland area in person and try to start talking about maybe changing the narrative a little bit in terms of how we can help our players, consistently help our players. So that was great. So that's the course formerly known as the DOC course. It's now called the Club Technical Leadership Level 1 because there's actually 3 levels to that course. So we're hoping that a lot of the technical leaders will go to the 2nd level and then potentially the 3rd level as well. So that was fun. And then finishing up our D license, we had really 24 fantastic people in the course. They're now working on their final assessments, putting things together. And we were outside this weekend, Rick. It was unbelievable. On Sunday, yes, Sunday, For those people who are listening outside of Chicagoland, it's definitely never 60 degrees
in February.
in Chicago in February. So we're out on the turf. It was great. I had to kick off people from the fields because everybody was out there. So it was great. So that was good. And then
my son went golfing.
Oh, yeah. I saw people golfing too. Yeah, it's like, man, dusted off the clubs. So which is great. And then we've got our C license going, and then we've just added a new B license for people. We've got a couple of B licenses going on, but if anybody's interested, we do have a summer B license. And then in the next week, we'll be also offering a new club technical leadership course, which was starting in the summer as well. So lots of stuff going on.
Okay. Time for your favorite part of the show.
Time now to guess the Premier League star.
And, after the Big Caribou Cup final, I'm going to take some pity on you. This one is not as hard as some of the previous Guess the Premier League stars. Okay?
Well, thank you. Thank you. So obviously Sean didn't give you this one.
Actually, he did. He did.
Oh, he did.
I made him give me a second choice because the one he gave me was ridiculous.
Oh, jeez.
So anyway, this week's Premier League star is 27 years old. Right, so an established star in the league. He's a winger/forward, and he wears number 20. Who is it?
You need forward. More. Where's number 20? Yeah, I think I might need a little bit more than that.
Okay. He just played his 150th game for his current club. So he is... when you think of this player, you think of him wearing the colors that he wears on this current club. Okay. His previous teams, I'll tell you, were Hull City and Hereford United.
Okay, yeah, Hereford, yep.
Hereford, okay.
Mm-hmm.
He does have some international experience. He's got 5 caps for England.
Okay.
All right. He plays in London.
All right. Winger, number 20, plays for... my goodness. It's not easy.
I'll give you a hint. The team I have 2 choices here. Team he plays for... I'm going to go with this one. Bubbles.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
I was going to say East Bacon.
Yeah. And did he have a pretty good weekend or good day yesterday, would you say?
Yeah, he might have, yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty decent one.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of floating around the outskirts of the England team. I don't know if he's going to be able to make the Euros team, but this would be Mr. Jared Bowen.
That's right.
From West Ham.
Every time I watch him play, I think to myself, how is this guy scoring goals? He looks like he's, half the size of the other players out there.
Mm-hmm.
And, he gets head balls. I don't know how the other guy that is like that to me is Diego Jota from Liverpool.
Yeah.
You look at him and you're like, how is this guy muscling people off the ball? He looks like a little tiny guy.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Now he's so interesting story about him is if anybody's ever watched, there's a movie called The Football Factory. And it was kind of a cult soccer movie. It's about some unfortunately hooligans and those types of things. West Ham. Ironically, the person who plays in the main character in that show, his name is Danny Dyer, and amazingly enough, Jared Bowen is now married to his daughter.
Oh wow!
Yes. So actually, I don't know if they are married, but they're together.
They're a couple.
Yeah. But they are. But they're expecting some. I think they're expecting. I think they may have just had twins. So they just had a couple of babies just this past year. But
well, then they must be married.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a few chance. I want people to research it on West Ham fans do about Danny Dyer, the personality, and then Danny Dyer's daughter is called Danny Dyer, but Danny with an I. which is interesting.
Okay.
So people have to do a little bit of research.
Okay.
I would recommend they do that. So you'll find maybe some colorful language in a few of those chants on Danny Dyer and Jared Bowen, but all in good fun.
And Jared Bowen is not a hooligan.
He's not a hooligan.
Right.
No. He's a very good guy, stand-up guy, and in fact, Danny Dyer, who was in that movie, he also starred in a long-running soap opera in England that most people watch. So he's a little bit of a personality on TV. So quite well known in England for sure. Yeah.
All right. So it's a celebrity couple. It's like It's like Bex and Posh Spice.
Definitely. Yeah, at a lower level, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. It's time for my favorite part of the show.
Now time for Adam's Weekend Soccer TV Tip.
All right. Other than the one you just gave them for the hooligan movie.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, definitely Football Factory if you get a chance to watch that. Got some good games this week. Really excited about how it is. And it's nice. It's a traditional Saturday, Sunday with the Monday night game as well. So that makes life a little bit easier. We do have some FA Cup matches this week. So you're going to see a lot of teams playing on Wednesday and Thursdays that go to ESPN Plus, watching those games. And in fact, what we were talking about, Leeds, Daniel Farke, he's playing against my Chelsea this week. So that will be an interesting game. So if anybody, again, historically going back, Chelsea Leeds United FA Cup final back in early 70s was the game that had the most fouls ever in. So most fouls ever recorded in a game. I think there was like two or three red cards in there too. So it wasn't the best cup final. But anyway, I digress. We've got a couple of derbies.
All right. Derby. I love my derbies.
So we've got Brentford Chelsea, although it's not. It's a derby because they're both in West London. Saturday morning should be a good one to watch. But there's only one derby to watch this weekend. It's got to be Sunday, the 3rd of March, Man City at home against the noisy neighbours, Manchester United. Was it you? I think it's now the other way now, right? So Man United are now the noisy neighbours to Man City. So that's going to be a good one. 9:30 Sunday morning. Definitely get your tea, get your food ready to go as you might be eating some of your hot croissants or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Some yogurt, some granola.
Your chip buddy.
Your chip butty. Might be a bit early for chip butties, but turn that one. That should be on NBC, I would think. Half night. Actually, that might be a USA because it's a bit early because they have a lot of other programs. But USA, Man City, Man United. Although, actually, I'm just hearing through the wire now it's going to be on Peacock. So be ready for that.
Okay. Well, that is definitely a game worth watching.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Free Kicks is brought to you by Green White Soccer Club. Now approaching 70 years of service. Green White provides soccer programs for kids and grown-ups of all ages, starting from U8 all the way through over 50. Go to greenwhitesoccer.org. All right, we have people to thank. We have to thank our executive producer, Tony Lasana, with Opie Shows. Thank you, Tony, for all your hard work on the show. We also need to thank Ed Silla with Radio Misfits. Great Talk Radio isn't dead. It just moved to a better place, RadioMisfits.com. And we'll be back again next week with a brand new episode of Free Kicks.
The proceeding was a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Find our other great shows on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at RadioMisfits.com. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?